Guys, welcome back. As promised, episode 2 of Road to 500k per month with my automotive business. Pretty bullish last month. May, the video that you guys watched. We had a ripper month. 416,000 in top line revenue, which is a record for this location locally here in Echuca. So pretty stoked. Thought we were going to go in a bit of an upwards trend, but like I said in the previous video, guys, usually over winter we lose about 20, sometimes 30% of our trade. That was a bit of a strategic move with us moving from back streets of the industrial estate to, highway roadfront property. That was the gamble, that was the strategy, to really try and boost that retail so that we don't have such a massive lag with the commercial stuff, with all the agricultural stuff coming to an end, coming into winter and all that sort of stuff. Hello, princess. It hasn't really worked out just yet. So we did have a massive dip in June. We'll quickly do a quick intro. This is my little bubby, Sam Sarah. So hello. But this is the whole reason that we do all this, yeah? Sometimes the boys are like, oh, boss is rocking up late. And it's such a hard thing to try and find that balance between rubbing shoulders with the boys in there with the trenches, but also serving the purpose of why you get into business in the first place. And for me, it was really about sort of lifestyle design, being able to create, an opportunity for myself to create cash flow, but also be able to manipulate my routine and my day and my time, so that I can hang out with this little one, drop her to daycare and stuff like that. So those things are important. So it's just, you got to try and find that balance, I guess, with, being in the trenches with the lads and also nurturing this sort of stuff. The whole idea of the road to 500k is to be as upfront, transparent as possible. If it was just an upwards trend, you'd probably think I was bluffing, but so I thought it was sort of good in a way that I can show you guys that we're not immune to, economic downturns, seasonal changes and all that sort of stuff. But it's not about if that happens to you, it's about what you do when it does happen. So today, we're going to shoot into the office, prepared a bit of a whiteboard session for you guys, what we're doing, what we're not doing. On this video as well, I'm also going to take you through my current supplement protocol. So I've already been to the gym. You missed out on that one this time, but I just want to take you through sort of what I'm taking to feel optimal and sharp between the ears, motivated, energized, regulate my emotions and all the stuff that is super important when trying to grow a business, run a business, and basically when you're juggling a lot of fucking balls. And then after that, we're going to cruise in and we're going to show you the numbers for what we did for June last month of the financial year. Yeah, let's go. Let's get into it. The purpose of this whole video was, one, to inspire you guys, and two, hopefully give you a little bit of value and a bit of insight as to sort of what we're doing to try and get to this goal of $500,000 a month in our local town, small country town, 20,000 people. It's doable. You can do it. We've done it. So May, $450,000 roughly in turnover. What do we do for June? You're going to have to wait until the end of this video, okay? So you have to hang on, be patient, get some value, and then have a look how much we've gone down. We are down fucking big time, and it hurt. It was a little bit of a ego hit. Yeah, it's like stressful, didn't hit budget. We're in the red for June, but it's not about what happens, it's about what you do after it. So what aren't we doing? What we're not doing because of the circumstance. We're not sitting on our hands. This is probably like just such a classic thing that I see in small business when things, we have a bit of a downturn, it's quiet or whatever. People just seem to think, it's going to change. Like, nothing changes unless you do. You have to be proactive. You have to be productive. You have to start thinking quickly if you want to keep progressing. If you want to just flatline and just, I guess, be the same every fucking year or never really, reach a high level of success, sure, sit on your hands like everybody else. Another thing we're not doing, we're not listening to the news. Trump bombing Pakistan, it's all pretty interesting. And I was like, it definitely makes you think, okay, what if the economy, but don't get caught up in the bullshit, okay? Because it's just bullshit. It has nothing to do with what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. There might be some issues down the track, but if you're just constantly showing up, focusing on the important things, then it doesn't fucking matter. So don't get caught up listening to the news. We don't even watch the news. Spending on paid ads. Lots of businesses get caught up with marketing agencies, radio advertising and stuff like that. I really want to make this clear in the video that we built our business with no paid advertising. We've done it a little bit here and there, but for the first couple of years, we didn't spend a dime on traditional paid advertising. I'm talking about meta ads predominantly. So Facebook, Instagram ads, Google ads, Google SEO, especially for regional. Metro, maybe a little bit different for SEOs, but for the SEO game, who you're competing with, in Metro, it's just like, I don't think it's worth the money. Local business, it's definitely not worth the money. So basically with meta ads, if you put an ad up, like what we do with Auto Cartel, so you might have seen some of our ads with Auto Cartel, but you got to understand that our scope, our market that we're trying to reach is in the millions, okay? Because we're going out to Australia wide. We were in New Zealand, now we're just focusing on Australia. And so it takes quite some time to reach ad fatigue, okay? What's ad fatigue? Ad fatigue is basically like you saw my daughter before. When she first came home, like the crying, the noise and all that sort of stuff, like it got to me. It definitely, it was very, I fucking noticed it, okay? Now she's 1.5. When she's crying and carrying on, it's just like, I don't even realize. It's just this thing in the background, okay? Same as ad fatigue. So in a country town or local business, when you're really only going to a market within that sort of 20, 30, 40 kilometer radius, you reach ad fatigue very quickly. Even though you're spending X amount per day on ads, Meta will still take your money and it will still get the same amount of views that it's promising, but they're going to be rinsing the views with the same people. Don't get caught up with marketing agencies. You can do paid advertising for short bursts and short pumps, but for the most part, it will fall on deaf ears. All right, same with radio advertising. If you get caught up in that, if you're not constantly renewing the content, constantly repurposing the marketing message and the offer and that sort of thing, same thing, it's going to fall on deaf ears. People won't pay attention. We're not laying people off. As soon as you mentally start to retract and you don't have an abundance mindset, this might just be a personal belief, but I feel like whenever I start to react and like cut costs or drop staff or something like that, then you're focusing on failure, okay? We don't focus on failure. We focus on moving forward, growing, expansion. And so we're never laying anybody off because, even if it is a dip, it is going to come back around, and we've done enough cycles now to know that this is what happens over winter, and we need a massive team to be able to nurture our summer months and our agricultural months. One thing we're not ever doing, is laying people off. Look, if the boys, if there's a guy in the team that's not pulling his weight and, he isn't earning his stripes, for sure, we might move him on. If all the boys are on the boat and they're having a crack, then I've got to respect them for giving us a chop out in the busy season, and so we'll keep them on. We're not blaming the market. Everybody does this. It's the market. It's this, it's that, it's COVID, it's fucking... There are external factors every single time for every single business, but are you going to be somebody that comes up with fucking excuses, or are you going to be somebody that says, yeah, market shit, what are we going to do about it? Dropping our pants. Money, I'm talking about money, not my actual pants. Just because it's quiet, it doesn't mean that we're going to retract on our price. It doesn't mean we're going to try and do things cheaper, okay? We just need to level up our service, all right? Because the moment we do that, we drop our pants, come the busy time again, you're going to be working around the clock, everybody's fucking flat out, and you're not making any money, and you're going to be like, what the fuck am I doing, okay? Maintain your margins, okay? Just be more bullish, more aggressive, provide a better service. And lastly, what we're definitely not doing is we're not freaking the fuck out. Everybody does it. I do it. I look at the sales report probably on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis, and we get caught up in the short-term dips. But if you zoom out, it's not about the month. Yes, we want to be tracking our KPIs so that we're staying in front. We do want to be hitting our budgets. But if we zoom out for the quarter, if we zoom out for the year, we're doing really well. Okay, so don't freak out. Zoom out. That's what we're not doing. You probably want to know, what are we doing to double down to make sure that this isn't happening, to make sure that this keeps trending upwards, and so that I can keep showing you these YouTube videos with confidence and we get to that 500K per month. It's going to happen. We're doubling down on organic socials. So if you found me on YouTube, this is the second video that we've done for the road to 500K. Make sure to go back and watch the first one. A bit of an intro about the biz, how we got started, all that sort of stuff. But our actual business is called Alpha Tires. So check it out on Instagram. We really have been doubling down on the organic socials. So the guy that's filming this right now, he's been just absolutely killing it. Coming in once a week, doing 3 to 4 skits. We're focusing on sort of a little bit of value, a little bit of comedy, probably a little bit too much comedy, but it's more about what gets the eyeballs, what gets people talking. And we're only just talking in the kitchen before. He's had people come up to him showing him videos without them realizing he's made them. We've had customers that are coming up from 3 hours away, driving up from Melbourne because they've seen our fucking videos and they want to get their tyres in Echuca. It's like crazy. So the power of social media, and we've been getting like literally, I think we're up to, since you've been working with us now, I think we've done about 1 million views on Instagram. just organic, no paid, like I said. And that's just dropping consistent 3 to 4 videos every single week, rolling out and reinforcing team KPIs. Alrighty, so at the moment we've got a performance KPI for the whole team. All right, so all of our techs, we have what we call the upsell KPI. When we talk about upsells, we're not talking about fucking everybody going out and ripping everybody off. We're talking about the guys being vigilant and pointing out things that aren't roadworthy with a car. I can guarantee that if you're in the tyre game, the automotive game, there is that many cars that come in for said job. It might be minor service or it might be a puncture repair. And because, people aren't being vigilant, there's a lot of cars that are leaving. There's unroadworthy stuff on there that could be, a potential sale for the business and, helping with your cash flow in these quiet times. So basically we've got the team KPIs. Anybody that gets an upsell gets a mark against their name, and they add those tally marks up at the end of the month. That's how much time in lieu they've got. And we've also got attached to that a leaderboard. So everybody's name's up there. You can see everybody's upsells that they've got. At the end of each month, whoever gets the most upsells, they get $500 at the credit on an account with our business. So they can shop at any of our suppliers, and we give them $500 at the end of the month for whoever gets the most upsells. We've sort of got that driving factor where even if you lose, you still get the time in lieu. But if you win, there's that opportunity there for you as well. And reinforcing, okay? Don't set and forget, all right? We're not trading. We're dealing with human beings. And if we're not constantly reinforcing with the team and sort of like, geeing everybody up on a regular basis, they're just going to forget about it and it'll wash out after a while. So that's going really well for us. Really, really well. Especially with a few guys in the team. They're like really taking the ball and run with it. And this is the important stuff. When it's really quiet, every fucking car has to count. Every car has to count. Like there shouldn't be a car that leaves, our organisation without going full over everything for a safety check. All right. And like I said, we're not here to rip people off. We're here to point out things that are unroadworthy to keep people safe on the road. And with doing that, we're providing value, we're making money. What else are we doing? We're refining the lead nurturing process. So we found some flaws in our lead nurturing process. We've obviously got a CRM that's pretty expensive. We actually have some really cool stuff in the pipeline for this, working with an AI developer and software developer at the moment that's going to help with this process. But really just having a team meeting with the guys and just like reinforcing the process, okay? So a lead comes in, whether it's phone call, through the CRM, through social media, a walk-in, we have a very fucking clear process that everybody in the sales team can see. So we've got about 4 of us that deal with customers. Me, my wife, Jemima, Ashley, our manager, Sexy, our 2IC. And the way that we've sort of geared this lead nurturing process, if we follow the process, nothing can get missed. And there's, like with our CRM, everybody's got visibility on the status of each customer. So if, a customer comes in that I was dealing with, but I'm not there, then they can see, right, these are James's internal notes. This is what he's done. This is the supplier he got it from. This is the purchase order number, all that stuff. So there's full transparency across all customers that everybody's dealing with. And just reinforcing that, like I said, every lead has to count during these quiet periods. Aggressive cold call outreach. This is one that we're really drumming down into the auto cartel community. We've got a very clear process of how we do this. When I say aggressive cold call outreach, I'm not talking about just calling people up and hoping for the best. I'm talking about having a very clear process of how to onboard local businesses. So we've just won a tender for a pretty big contract with a fleet of about 20 light vehicles. So, a fleet of 20 light vehicles they reckon they do 2 to 3 services a year. We should be seeing a car, 1 or 2 cars a week with a fleet that size, whether it's tyres, auto electrical, mechanical servicing, whatever. Really exciting. And, you only really need to get a small handful of those guys, and that's going to be keeping you busy nice and passively. Cold call prospecting, boots on the ground, going out, introducing yourself to people, sharing people what offer you've got for local businesses, really providing some value there, cutting through the bullshit, getting past the admin lady, what we call the gatekeeper, and find out who you need to speak to, the fleet manager, the head honcho, the manager, the 2IC, whoever you need to speak to. Get the right person, get their details, get an email. Once we've made the connection, we've given them the offer that we're providing, we're following up with an email to keep that communication cadence going. On that email, you're going to have what we call a pitch deck, which is basically like your digital resume for your business, who you are, what you do, what service you provide, your point of difference, reviews, all that sort of stuff. So we sort of go into this with detail with our community members inside of Auto Cartel. Following up with that, and then a consistent follow-up cadence. All right, we're not just calling into places and handing out our business card. That is definitely what I used to do in the early days, and it still worked. But if we want to look really professional and go after some of these bigger businesses with fleets of vehicles, you need to have a really professional approach. We're prioritizing physical and mental game. I know there's a lot of people in the industry and you're like, you don't go to the gym, you don't look after yourself and all that sort of stuff, but you can't go and then ask the question, why do I feel so tired? Why am I feeling burnt out? Why am I forgetting things? Why am I snapping at my employees because I can't control my emotions? All of these things, why am I feeling absolutely bugged and getting home and sitting on the couch and falling asleep at fucking 6 o'clock at night? All these things come down to looking after your physical and mental game, right? So I've got black coffee at the moment, all right? I try not to have carbs in the morning. I try not to have carbs throughout the whole day. Keep my carbs for the evening. And it's not so much a physical thing. It's more of that's what keeps me sharp, because the carbs tend to mentally just crash me. I don't know what it is, but I feel way more energized having like high fat, high protein throughout the day, carbs at night. But what I'm also going to do is on this episode is I'll take you into the kitchen after this, and I'm just going to show you my current supplement stack, and I want to talk to you about the importance of seeing the right people for what you're putting into your body. All right, because you are not going to get to this and beyond and be able to carry the burden and the stress that's required to do that if you aren't focusing on this. I've got a pretty strict morning routine, breath work every morning, blood flow every morning in some capacity, whether it's an outdoor walk, push-ups, burpees, anything, some sort of blood flow, going to the gym on a regular basis, and just really focusing on, good quality produce food, like grass-fed meats, whole foods, nothing processed. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy, a treat from time to time. My wife is a beautiful cook, and I'll definitely eat whatever she makes, but all in small proportions. The majority of my intake is good quality whole food produce, and I just can't stress that enough. That has just been the game changer for me. In my younger days, in my 20s, I destroyed my body with all the naughty stuff, and it really took a toll for quite some time until I really sorted my shit out. And now I've sort of gotten to a point where I have to perform. And so if you do want any help with that sort of stuff, reach out, because I'm really big on the sort of physical and mental game, and biohacking, feeling optimal, just feeling good, feeling good and energized, because I was there at one point in business where I'd literally come home and just fall asleep on the couch in my work clothes. And it's not fun, especially if you've got a little one, like we showed you before. You need to bring the energy. On the weekends, you need to bring the energy for your family and just for life. What's the point of doing it all if you're just that fucked and you don't want to do anything on a weekend? All right, so it just comes down to what it is that you're putting into your body. We're going to go through that shortly. Reconnecting with current clients. It's all fantastic trying to get new ones, but what about the ones that you've already got? So I've made a conscious effort this week. I've gone and reconnected with some of the account customers that we've already got. Reached out, called in there, gone and seen them. How's things going? How's the service? Anything we can improve? All that sort of stuff. And letting them know the additional services that we're providing. So we just started doing auto electrical. To give you a classic example of this, I went into a mob where we just do a lot of their commercial tyres. And I said, oh, by the way, we've got an auto elec. And he's just like, oh, bullshit, we've been looking for an auto elec. And I've got a full day's worth of work for him next week, going over their whole fleet, basically installing UHF radios, fixing all the lights, sensors and all that sort of stuff, trackers. We've already been getting some consistent work out of him just since that conversation. Go and reconnect and revisit the guys you've got, see if there's anywhere where you can get more work. A lot of the time, that they might just not realise some of the additional services that you provide, bolting on additional services. So, like I just said, we just employed an auto electrician. Essentially, the more services you provide, customers and clients that you can attract, to be honest, that business that we got that I was talking about earlier, the reason they went with us is because we got auto electrical, we got automotive and servicing, mechanical repairs, tyres, wheel alignments, absolutely everything. It's a one-stop shop. So that was attractive. I will just preface by saying, bolting on an additional service when you're ready. Don't go and try and bolt on all the services when it's just you by yourself or you and an offsider. All right, you really want to be bolting on additional services once you've got a bit of a team behind you. All right, I did this in the early days. I was alpha this, I was alpha that, I was alpha detailing, I was alpha tires, and it was pretty much just me and one other guy, and it just went to shit. I really think that a lot of the stuff that I've learned is through these mistakes. So I don't know, maybe go and fuck it up a little bit. You might learn something, but best advice I can give is just wait till you've got a bit of a team before bolting on some extra services. Otherwise, just try and stick to what you're good at. Closely monitoring margins as well as efficiency. All right, we want to be making sure that we're still maintaining our margins. If we're doing less in turnover, but our margins are smaller as well, we're definitely not going to be able to make up for it. Whereas if we maintain our margins, if the sales go down, hopefully we've got enough margin there to cover our ass. But as well as efficiency. So we talk about the billable hours, making sure that we're tracking our billable hours per tech per trading day and making sure that that's not lagging. Because I'm telling you now, there's a saying, if you want something done, give it to somebody that's busy. That's because they've got momentum, all right? So when businesses are quiet and you got all these blokes standing around, everybody gets lazier, okay? Me included. It's hard to find that get up and go when it's not there getting spoon-fed to you on a daily basis. So when it's quiet and you have to be productive and you have to make sure that the rest of the fucking team is. Paying all these guys, they're actually churning out less work than normal. They're being less efficient than normal. And, that's when it's a bit of a slippery slope if we're not paying attention. We've communicated with our team and nurturing culture. So when I say communicated with our team needs to know shit's tight. All right. Sales are down. All right. We're coming into a quiet period. That's why when we rolled out the team KPIs, we had this conversation when we rolled this out. Okay. When we reinforced this with the team. All right. We've run this one before. We're reinforcing it again, but we're also communicating, guys, we need to make every sale count. And I'm super transparent with the boys. Boys, we're coming into a quiet period. We want to maintain the size team that we got. All right, we've got a fair few guys around at the moment for the amount of work that's going on. We want to maintain this crew so that when it gets busy again, we're all good to go. All right, and so I think it's just super important so they're aware what's going on, because if they're just like, oh, it's quiet and chill, and they need to be across the situation that shit's tight, and if they want to stick around, they need to perform. So communicating with the team and nurturing culture. So doing regular barbecues with the boys. We had one of the guys, he moved on to another career opportunity, did it really well, really ethically. So he took all the boys out for dinner, paid for dinner, all that sort of stuff, a couple of beers. And then in a couple of weeks' time, we're all going on a team camping trip. So we're taking the whole crew, going out bush, taking them to a country pub out there for dinner, and going to have a big fire, a few drinks for the guys, and really just nurturing that culture. Yeah, we want to be a desired workplace at the end of the day. So even if it's quite busy, whatever, this is always needs to be a priority. Local biz marketing collab. All right. So you might have seen we've done a shitload of giveaways. That really got our name out there in the early days doing, local giveaways, year supply of beer, year supply of coffee. So we're just about to do a collab with a local pizza joint. We put up a poll on socials, found out who's got the best pizza in town, reached out, and we're doing a year supply of pizza in the coming weeks. Again, just to get more eyeballs to the page. So this is going to be a really good one. And it's really good doing a local biz collab, because if you do it with another business, you're sort of leveraging their audience on their social media platform as well, and you can usually get a bit of a deal on whatever the offer is, because it's helping them, it's helping you. Everybody has a bit of a win. So we'll be rolling that out in the next week or two, which is exciting. And then we've got this one here, AI lead gen tool. Not giving too much away on this one. We've been working pretty closely with an AI developer. He's come up with an AI lead generation tool where we can essentially data scrape. You punch in your location, wherever you are, what your business is, and it does a data scrape of all the local businesses that are going to be relevant to your product or service, and then it does cold outbound email on your behalf, which is pretty wild. This one is going to be beta launched for the Auto Cartel community in the next couple of weeks. We won't be taking this AI tool to market. This is going to be exclusively for Auto Cartel members. Going back to what we were talking about with the CRM and the software and that sort of stuff, the point of sale system, that will be taking to market separately to Auto Cartel. So that's pretty much everything. One thing that I did leave out, actually, we run an SMS campaign. All right, we've got an offer framework that literally prints every single time. It's the second time we've done it in our business. We've got Auto Cartel clients that have used this same framework, and it converts like crazy. We booked in over 60 services in 48 to 72 hours using this same SMS framework. We had another client who had half as many contacts as us. So we've got about 8,000 mobile numbers in our database. He had about 4,000. He booked in about 50 within that 48 to 72 hours, which is just crazy. We've been holding on to that one until we did know that it was going to sort of come down a little bit, things were going to cool off. Rolled that out, booked out the calendar with mechanical for the next couple of weeks. So it was a really good timing. We sort of knew, right, it's quiet, let's do it, lock it in. Data is king. If you watched some of my other videos, you might have heard me say this. Every single customer that comes into your ecosystem, like our CRM, we even record leads now come into the CRM. So they even go into our SMS list. Every single customer, minimum name and mobile number, because once you build that database, you can do these promos literally overnight. You're booking out your calendar. So really good lever to pull. Before we shoot into the shop, I just wanted to go through my current health protocol that I'm going through. All right, so I know what you're looking at. You're thinking, what the fuck? Are you seriously taking all those potions in a day? I am. I'm currently doing a health protocol. I'm going to share with you sort of what that's all about shortly. So what do we got in the stack? A lot of this stuff, to be honest, I couldn't even give you an explanation for what it is. I've been prescribed a lot of this stuff. So the Ultimate Support Supplement, which is just general sort of health, well-being. Red yeast rice. So this is for blood pressure. It's almost like a natural statin type thing. So it keeps your blood pressure in check. Repair support, BPC 157 peptide and lactoferrin. So BPC 157 peptide, if you haven't heard of that, it's for injury prevention. If you do have an injury, it's about sort of tendon repairs and stuff like that. Really popular peptide that is 100% legal on the market. Gut to brain axis blend. So basically to do with your, what it is, gut to brain. Gut recovery probiotics, French maritime pine bark extract, pregnenolone at 100 milligrams a day, saffron, modified citrus pectin, ultra musclease night, food sensitivity relief, which is a DAO enzyme, diamine oxidase. So the whole reason that I'm doing this health stack is because I don't know why, but like a week after I got my first COVID jab, I came down with this thing that took ages to actually locate what the problem was. It was a histamine intolerance, which was obviously something to do with my gut. Lots of reasons potentially, but it just seemed weird that it happened a week after the COVID jab. Anyway, I nurtured it for like a good couple of years, had it for a few years now. I just said to myself, enough is enough. I need to sort of take my health into my own hands. Because like I went to like multiple GPs. They thought it was something to do with my heart because I was having these like episodes. Went to the cardiologist, like did all this stuff. Anyway, long story short, we found out, went to a naturopath, paid her like $90 and she told me what it was straight away without any blood tests. So I was pretty impressed, but also pretty deflated that the mainstream sort of health route, multiple GPs, went to hospital a couple of times. Nobody could put their finger on it. But anyway, so these are sort of for cognition. So lion's mane mushrooms, which I have just before bed, reishi mushroom, which helps me go to sleep, cordyceps mushrooms, which helps me between the ears first thing in the morning, have that with my coffee. Electrolytes, every single morning, have these bad boys. Basically, all of this is in my health protocol. The DAO supplement I just got on hand if I do have a histamine attack. Since I've been doing this, it hasn't really been a requirement. This one here is for nighttime, so magnesium, just to sort of have that in conjunction with that. It's, good night. Definitely going to sleep like a champion. Creatine daily. I don't cycle it. Whoever's told you to cycle it, they're wrong. It should just be constantly in your diet. Every morning I have that, which really helps. Cognitive benefits, energy, training, all that sort of stuff, and colostrum for gut health benefits, which is prescribed in this as well. So you're probably looking at this and you're probably a little bit like me. You're like, oh, well, I'm going to buy all of that because like if that makes him feel really good, then it's going to make me feel really good. But the thing is, where I've made the mistake like over the years is like just self-prescribing supplements, all right? It's a multi-billion-dollar industry and they sell the shit out of all this different stuff, when it comes to, especially like in the gym and stuff like that. And a lot of it's rubbish. And a lot of it might not actually be to do with your deficiencies. So the guy that prescribed me this, I'll tag him in the video. I don't have any affiliation with him or anything like that. I'm just genuinely like just so stoked with my performance since I've been on this stack. I'm about 7 weeks in or something like that. For those that don't know, my father just passed away back in April and I was in a fucking really bad hole, really like just couldn't get out of the hole. No motivation, super depressed, all that sort of stuff. Even my wife said since I've been on this, like I've just sort of come back out again and back to my usual self and feeling motivated and driven again. And it's got a lot to answer for. But guys, this is prescribed to my blood work. The thing is, you go to a GP, you get bloods done. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, yeah, everything's pretty much within range. But the range that they're talking about includes people that are terminally fucking ill. They're not talking about optimal like blood levels. All right, so going to a specialist like this guy, Jake, you're talking to a fucking guru that basically, like, he reads your bloods. And yeah, even though majority of my blood work was like pretty much bang on, like generally speaking, if I went to a GP, there was like, 12 markers in there that weren't actually optimal. And they actually had a lot of reasoning behind that. So he basically said I had like adrenal fatigue, even though there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue. That's basically what it looked like. So it didn't matter what I was doing, if I was eating the right food, morning routine, getting enough sleep, training, all that sort of stuff, my body just wasn't catching up. And so I needed this additional support to sort of get me back going again and bring those blood markers from average to optimal. I'm sharing this, like I don't want you to see what I'm taking here and then go, oh, we're going to just take all that and then we're going to feel awesome and all that sort of stuff. It's not the case at all. What I'm encouraging you to do is take your health into your own hands. Go and see an actual specialist, like a professional, when it comes to optimizing your blood work. And yeah, like yours might look completely different to this. And that's what a lot of people do. They'll just go and buy shit because one of the bros at the gym or one of the bros at work is taking it, and it might not have anything to do with the current symptoms that you've got. So don't self-prescribe, go and find a professional. I just wanted to share this because it's just so important. If you want to thrive, if you want to win in business, you're gonna have to nurture a lot of weight on your shoulders. And so you can't do that without optimizing everything in all areas. So hope you got some value out of that one too. Let's go to work. Rightio, moment of truth. Same as last time, I'm going to show you my sales report for the month of June. Hurts the ego a little bit. Definitely noticed a massive dip. That first couple of weeks of the month just literally dropped off the face of the earth. Talking to suppliers, talking to competitors and other local businesses, like everyone was in the same boat. Finished strong, but just didn't quite get to the finish line. It's not about what happens, it's about what you do after it. Defines the following month or defines the future. We were away as well. We're on holidays for a couple of weeks. We went to Tasmania, so we weren't here. So, finger on the pulse, and I guess the guys didn't have as much support there while we were gone. And so it's going to be super good to see how we go this month, because we're literally heading to Mexico next weekend for a couple of weeks, and Miami. Which is, super exciting. It's going to be good to see how we go on the tail end of this month. All right, let's have a squiz. Boom, moment of truth. So we finish on 286 sales, 106 GP, just ticked over the 40% GP, which is still a little bit low. We sold a few truck tyres in there this month as well. So yeah, we're down probably 25 to 30% on the previous month. Rightio guys, so you've seen it, 286, we're down about 25-30% on last month, which definitely hurts. Half expected coming into this season, but no excuses. We just have to be aggressive. We have to be aggressive. We can't listen to, the news. We can't listen to the naysayers. We can't listen to everybody having a sook that, it's quiet. You just got to be aggressive. You got to do more. You got to be smart. You got to be productive. You got to be proactive. So I've shown you the things that we're going to do. We're going to roll it out. I'm going away for a couple of weeks holiday at the end of the month, so it's going to be good to see if we can still make that progress while we're away. Remember, if you got some value, if you're enjoying the channel, if you're enjoying the road to 500K, make sure to leave us a comment, ask any questions whatsoever. If you're in the auto trade, I'd love to answer any of your questions in the comments. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.